Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Plural Bets, and on this channel, I like to do hip-hop album reviews. I take an album, I listen to each song, give a brief breakdown of each one, and then rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Reminder that music is subjective, and just because I like something doesn't mean you're obligated to like something, so I suggest that you listen to the album yourself and come to your own conclusion. In this episode, I have a request from a viewer of mine, Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. This is his third studio album that dropped on March 15th, 2015. It sold 324,000 copies in its first week, while also debuting at #1 on the US Billboard charts. This is also his first #1 album in the United Kingdom's charts as well. He racked up a total of 11 Grammy nominations in 2016, which is the most by any rap artist ever. 7 of those were specifically for this album. This led to him winning Best Rap Album and Overall Album of the Year. It was also given this title by many other publications as well. Many people in the hip-hop community consider this to be a classic album, so we're here to put that theory to the test and see if it still lives up to that 10 years later. So without further ado, here's the review. Track 1, Wesley's Theory, featuring George Clinton and Thundercat. It starts off with a Boris Gardner sample, "Every is a star." The beat for this is funky and makes you want to bounce. There's also a message from who I assume is George Clinton before Kendrick starts his hook. His first verse is dope. He names a bunch of different things that he's going to do after he gets signed, quote unquote. Probably what he did after he got signed. Would the singing in the bridge at the tail end of each verse be Thundercat? I'm unsure, so if somebody could let me know in the comments, I'd be much appreciated. Either way, it's pretty smooth and I liked it. To start his second verse, it's a voicemail from someone named Trey leading into what Kendrick happens to be talking about in his second verse, where he's rapping from the perspective of Uncle Sam towards the black community. Solid start. I'm giving this a hard 7. Track 2, For Free. This song starts off with a skit, and it's technically titled an interlude, but to me, it really feels like a song. Low-key genius, and I can go on for days about the topics that he addresses in this song. The "I need 40 acres and a mule, not a 40 ounce in a pit bull" is probably the most controversial line of the track. There's plenty of speculation, but to me, it kind of feels like the woman at the beginning is portraying in part America and partially the American black woman. Another dope song. I'm giving this one a hard 7 as well. Track 3, King Kunta. He keeps the funky feel going with this track. The hook on this is hard, a real head nodder. In his verses, he lets the beat do most of the work, letting it breathe, so to speak. In his first verse, he goes in on rappers who use ghostwriters and how he doesn't respect them. I gotta say that his second verse is probably the worst on the song, but it's still alright. He had a line about running for mayor after his career was over. I thought that was pretty interesting. Gonna hold him to that. The outro to the song was fairly pleasant as well. I like the female vocals chanting, "We want the funk." Gotta give this a hard 9 for sure. Track 4, Institutionalized. The official features are Bilal, Anna Wise, and Snoop Dogg. When people say that the voice is just another instrument, I am a firm believer in that, and Kendrick displays this heavily in this song, using his voice differently in the intro, the hook, and in each of his verses. Amazing work from Kendrick all around on this. My favorite part happens to be the hook, though. "Shit don't change until you wash your ass." It was super smooth, and I loved it. Snoop Dogg technically has the bridge where he's vaguely describing Kendrick, and he also has a little bit of a half verse towards the end of the song. The message is super deep, and I'm giving this a soft 8. Track 5, These Walls. The intro is the "I Remember You Were Conflicted" bit that most people know from the All Right music video. The Anna Wise singing in the beginning is super dope. I love that part. Super smooth transition to the hook, which is a mixture of Anna and the rest of the features on the song, who happen to be Thundercat and Bilal. This track is dope and a real head nodder. All of Kendrick's verses are dope, so I'm just going to briefly address each one. His first verse is decent, fairly consistent flow throughout it. His second verse has the same flow as the first, but happens just to be a tad bit better than the first. There's a sick keyboard solo at the beginning of the third verse, which I technically happen to think is the best verse overall. Then he ends the song with a little bit of an extended version of the intro. I gotta give this a soft 7. Track 6, You. The intro to this song is Kendrick, for lack of a better word, screaming. If I'm being honest, I wasn't really feeling the first half of the song. Message aside, I just couldn't really get into it. His cadence to me was just weird and it felt off. Luckily, there's a beat switch at the halfway point. You just gotta bear through a rough 2 minutes to get to that. After the beat switch, the song gets actually pretty good. You can feel the pain in his voice that he is portraying, and it makes the person who he is trying to convince us he is in this track more believable. The first half of the song brings the rating down, but it's still a soft 5. Track 7, All Right. Pharrell is considered a producer and a writer for this song. A lot of black people consider this their anthem. This is also my personal favorite song of the album. Both of his verses are dope, but if I had to choose between the two of them, I'd have to say that his first verse is the better verse. The most controversial line of the song is "We hate po-po, want to see us dead in the street for show," occurs multiple times throughout the song because it is technically the bridge. The hook is amazing, for lack of a better word. A classic, like classic song. Perfect 10. Track 8, For Sale. When looking at a song title and it's saying it's an interlude, the last thing you want to see is that it's almost 5 minutes. The intro kind of sounds like heavy breathing and vocal exercises. Kendrick does some smooth singing that I'm considering the hook for this, with some spoken words sprinkled in, which is actually pretty dope. I kind of liked it. I'm giving this a soft 6. Track 9, Mama. Kendrick's first verse is a little lackluster, if I'm being honest. It's not as deep, and it doesn't hit as hard as the verses to come. The hook is short, but very sweet. Transitions in and out of it very flawlessly. He claims to know quote-unquote everything, and happens to name a bunch of different things that he is very well versed in his second verse. The way that he ends it is super slick as well. My favorite verse of the song. In his third verse, he paints a picture of a personal experience that he had, and he turns it into a deep message. There's a beat switch after the third verse, and then he ends the song with a frantic cadence that I thought was interestingly unique. The song fades out with him spitting in this cadence. I'm giving this another soft 6. Track 10, Hood Politics. The song starts off with a sample that is from All Myself by Savan Stevens. Kendrick is talking his shit in his hook, and it's actually pretty hard. His first verse is just okay. It's decent. Probably the worst verse on the song, though. His second verse is kind of hard. He's pointing a finger at somebody, calling them a snitch, and saying they were snitching all summer. And in his third verse, he's talking his shit about the success that his previous album had. Probably my favorite verse of the song. Another "I knew you were conflicted" outro. I'm giving this a hard 8. Track 11, How Much a Dollar Cost, featuring James Fauntleroy and Ronald Isley. The song is basically the story of how much a dollar cost. His first verse basically is Kendrick Lamar and a homeless man's interaction. This homeless man is asking for $1, and Kendrick Lamar basically denies him. The hook is a smooth single man singing, and it acts as an interlude in between each one of his verses. The second verse picks up where the first verse left off, in the uncomfortable situation, and Kendrick Lamar does a pretty good job of explaining the uncomfortableness on each side. The third verse is him expressing his views on the subject, and then the homeless man reveals himself to be an image of God and reveals himself to Kendrick Lamar. This has got a deep message, and I'm giving it a hard 7. Track 12, Complexion. The hook is hard. Complexion don't mean a thing. Super dope message, and my favorite part of the song. His verse was dope. My favorite part of his verses were the sneak dissing. Rhapsody is featured on this, and there's a beat switch for her part that I'm not really feeling. I didn't really like her part at all. Overall, as a song though, I'm giving this a hard 6. Track 13, Blacker the Berry. The vocal range for Kendrick Lamar is on full display in this one. He hits many different pockets of the beat vocally. The singing that he did in the beginning was pretty smooth. I like that. His first verse was hard, pretty consistent throughout it. Can anybody tell me who the Jamaican man is on the hook? Is that Kendrick? His second verse is okay. Gotta be the worst verse on the song in my opinion. But he kills his third verse, and it happens to be my favorite verse of the song. especially the end. Jump high enough to get Michael Jordan endorsements? Fire. He ends this with a smooth and mellow outro. I'm giving this a soft 8. Track 14, You Ain't Gotta Lie, showing off more of his vocal versatility. He has a very unique cadence in this, and then he has some dope singing to end the first verse. I like the hook too. Pretty dope. He starts his second verse the same way that he ended his first verse, singing the exact same part that he sang. His second verse was lackluster. I gotta give this a hard 5. Track 15, I. This contains a sample from a song called That Lady. I have to say that this song feels like a dance record to me. My head was nodding the entire track. The hook is fantastic, and all of the verses were dope as well. I have to say that it kind of feels like a live performance. At the very least, he puts a spoken word concert where he freestyles, which I thought was pretty dope. My favorite part of the track, to be honest. I'm giving this a hard 7. Track 16, Mortal Man. Since this song is a very long 12 minutes, I'm only going to cover the notable parts. The hook is pretty dope. He asks us, the fans, when shit hits the fan, are you still a fan? All of his verses are dope, but the third one happens to be my favorite. Right around 5 minutes, he reveals the skit that he's been teasing all album. It's him basically interviewing as the interviewer in the 1994 interview of Tupac Shakur. Dope interview. Super sick. For the song, I'm giving it a soft 7, and the interview outro, I'm giving a perfect 10. This album is amazing. I don't think that there was a skip the entire album, and the lowest rating that I gave out was a soft 5, I think. Kendrick has stated multiple times that this album was supposed to be the Black Empowerment album, but it had far more reach than he could have ever expected. Global. This album is certified gold in Austria, Germany, Italy, and Poland. Certified platinum in Australia, the UK, and the United States. Double platinum in Canada and Denmark. And then triple platinum in New Zealand. Rolling Stone ranks this 19th in the top 500 albums of all time. And many publications have given this album of the decade. So don't just take my word for it when I say if you haven't listened to this album, you're missing out. I still listen to a couple of songs like King Kunta and All Right still to this day. With close to 7 million units sold, saying that this is anything less than a classic is blasphemy. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what album you think I should do next. And then subscribe for more album reviews. Until next time, friends. Peace.